Now it's time for the homework for Chapter 2. And the homework for Chapter 2 is identifying your sensory goal. And the reason why it's so important to identify your sensory goal is it has zone triggers built into it, which means when you find your sensory goal and you build it into your pre-shot routine, you're going to be in or near the zone a lot more often, which is going to give you more consistency and more of your best shots. So the process of identifying your sensory goal has three different steps. The first step is just identifying whether your sensory goal or your optimum sensory mode for your golf shots is visual or feel oriented. And this can be a very powerful tool in itself. Just knowing whether you should be focusing on something that you see or something that you feel can help raise the trust that you have in your ability to hit shots a very high degree. The second step in the identifying your sensory goal process is then fine-tuning it to what visual goal or what feel goal. And then the third step in the process is fine-tuning it even further to identifying, do you have the same visual or feel goal for each of the different shots that you hit on the course? Now, I've had a number of golfers who have the same visual or feel goal for every shot all the way through the bag. But I also have a lot of golfers who have a different goal for the full swing than they do for the short game, than they do for the putting. Just as an example, I am very feel goal oriented when it comes to the full swing, but when it comes to chipping and pitching, I'm very, very visual. So there's no right or wrong with this exercise. All you're trying to do is identify what are you going to have in your mind? What are you focusing on at the end of every pre-shot routine? Because if you're focused on something that you trust and it's effective for you, you're gonna hit a lot more really good shots. So the process, the methodology of what you're gonna do is you're gonna go to the range, you're gonna warm up and hit a bunch of shots so you're feeling good, and then you're gonna take your favorite club and you're going to hit 3 shots using a visual goal, and I'll give you those 3 visual goals in a second, and then you're going to hit 3 shots using a feel goal. And after those 6 shots, what you want to be looking for is your level of trust in the sensory goal. In other words, right before you're hitting the shot and while you're hitting your shot, do you feel a high degree of trust that you're going to be successful in hitting the shot to the target, or do you feel a low degree of trust? And you can put numbers on it or grades on it. And then you're also going to be looking for the ease of maintaining clear focus on that sensory goal. So in my experience, when the sensory goal is not an optimum goal, old swing thoughts are going to sneak in, or worries or doubts are going to sneak in. So the combination of those two, when you have a high degree of trust in the sensory goal, and when it's really easy to stay focused on that sensory goal from right before the shot all the way through the shot, then you're headed in the right direction. So in my experience doing this exercise over the years, there's 3 visual goals that have proven to be very strong ones, and there's also 3 feel goals that have proven to be very strong ones. So I would recommend testing these 6 first, but again, this is about you finding what works best for you, so feel free to tinker with this. Now, the exercise itself can take anywhere from a couple weeks to a couple months to start figuring things out. So don't put any pressure on yourself to do it in a particular time frame. But every step that you take from moving to visual versus feel to exactly what visual or feel to what you use for different shots, every step that you take is going to improve your quality of shots quite a bit. Now, the 3 visuals are the visual of the target, where you want the ball to end up, the visual of the shape of the shot, so what the flight looks like, the trajectory of the shot. And then the third is the picture of how the club is going to move in the impact zone to produce the shot that you want. And then the 3 feel goals are the speed that you're swinging at. Is it 100%? Is it 90%? Is it 80%? and then the effort level that you swing at. And it's the same. Is the effort level 100% or 90 or 80, maybe even 70? And then the third of the field goals is the rhythm or the smoothness. And this one can be a little tougher to picture. So I want you to imagine the difference between Hideki Matsuyama's swing, who comes back very slowly, has a pause at the top, and then generates all his speed on the way down, versus a Dustin Johnson who's basically smoothly accelerating all the way from the takeaway all the way through impact. So those are very different rhythms. And each of us has a very different rhythm as well. But if you can identify your rhythm and focus on that rhythm, is that a sensory goal that works really well for you? And I know personally, when I focus on swinging with my rhythm with the driver, that is my optimum sensory goal for hitting full shots with the driver. So just a brief recap again. Get to the range, hit some shots and get warmed up, grab your favorite club, and test the 3 visual goals, the target, the shape, and the impact, and the 3 feel goals, the speed and the effort and the rhythm. And there's no right or wrong between those 6, and feel free to fine-tune those 6, but I would recommend doing 1 shot of each, working back and through all 6 of those, because when you do one right after the other, it gives you really good context for, well, how is my level of trust and how is my level of focus? When you do a whole bunch in a row of the same one, it's a little bit easier to get lost. So this is a very, very powerful homework, because when you have the same focus in your mind at the end of every pre-shot routine, and that focus gives you a high degree of trust, and it's easy to maintain that focus, and it triggers the zone or close to the zone for you, that's one of the fastest ways that you can hit more good shots under pressure.